Hey guys, welcome back to Prime Collectibles. My name's Jason. If you're new here, I am a collector of everything from action figures, Transformers, to, as you can see, more high-end statue collectibles and artwork as well. If you're into that kind of stuff, please do like and subscribe and follow my channel. It really helps the channel. Recently, we've moved into a much bigger house. I was basically in like a 800 square foot, one bedroom apartment. These statues were sort of adding up and my fiance is going nuts. They're in the kitchen, they're in the living room. So now we have much more space. I have more room to kind of display everything. I now have 3 rooms dedicated to statues and collectibles. And I'm very excited to do a new house tour for you guys. So without further ado, let's get into the tour. All right, so let's kick this off with this, we'll call it the lounge area slash balcony at the top of the stairs that overlooks the foyer. And this is my 1/3 scale DC slash Berserk area. It's mostly 1/3 scale DC stuff. But then I kind of threw the Berserk at the end there since they're very large statues as well, and this space worked out well for it. So as you can see, I have a number of the Prime 1 DC lineup, but I do have some more coming in. I think there's probably at least one of these that I will be getting rid of before some others come in. So let's get into this. To kick things off, Prime 1 Deadman. I've done a review on this guy before, but let's just quickly look at him again because he is pretty glorious. He's just something so different from any of the other statues that are out there, especially in a 1/3 scale. He really pops in a collection. And I just really like him. And I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. Next we have the giant Swamp Thing, and another really beautiful piece. The second in the Justice League Dark collection that I have. Base is awesome. Lots of interesting stuff here. The vines and all this sort of swamp stuff in the back really create a nice frame for him. And I have him, he's got a lot of different swap outs, but I have him with this little canary or whatever this bird is in his hand. Just because I think that he's beastly enough. I think it's nice to show a little bit of his soft side as well. So, Swamp Thing. Now here we have Prime 1 Zod. And he looks nice. He looks really nice in isolation. I think he's a great looking statue. The golds and red really pop off his like kind of armor, the grays and of his armor and then the black cape. But the problem with him is he's a little bit underscaled, I think, especially his head. If you compare his head here, look at that size to the size of Deathstroke's head, or even Joker. It's just too small, and especially when you compare it to Superman here, which should be similar. His portrait's underscaled, and it makes him look less imposing. So that's unfortunate, because otherwise he's a really nice statue. He's got the Superman statue crushed under his feet, symbolic obviously. Nice portrait, just a little bit too small. This is the EX portrait. Let me just quickly show these guys' portraits as well. Great detail. And Deadman with his decaying flesh. Very cool. And just a close-up of his tendons and muscles, or at least his outfit that kind of mimics a flayed man. Very, very cool. Okay, now one of my absolute favorite statues still is Prime 1 Deathstroke comic version, and this is the EX with the EX mask or portrait, and holy shit, does that ever look good. He's still one that every time I look at him, I get that feeling, you know what I mean? Just like he never disappoints. The orange with the gray really looks unique and pops. And in my old apartment, I didn't have a high enough ceiling to be able to put him up with his AR. He had to have the other sword, but I love this look with him with his AR with the katana down low. I love this statue. He's very deep, so he had to kind of go on an angle in the corner here. But I mean, even the base, look at this. Wow. This is by far one of my favorite statues. Okay, so then we move on to a statue that I believe won some awards last year, and justifiably so. It's the Bermejo Joker from Prime 1. Not sure what needs to be said here that hasn't already been said about this statue. I mean, it's to me, it's the perfect statue representation of Joker. I know that a lot of people appreciate different iterations of Joker, but this just looks like Joker to me. Maniacal, a little bit dirty, greasy hair. Awesome. Now this flag here, this gun with the the bang flag, is actually from the Hush Batman. It fits on his base in the back, but you can't see it back there. And I figured it'd be kind of fun to just throw it up here on the Joker, almost like it tells a story, like he pretended to shoot somebody and then the bang flag came out and then he actually did, because he really looks like he just shot somebody here. So that's fun. Next we have Catwoman. Now this is from the Arkham line, so it doesn't really go with a lot of these others. It's here with some of the Prime, sorry, not the Prime, the Hush statues. But to me, this is the best version of Catwoman so far that has come out in 1/3. I've seen a lot of the others. I just think that this one is the best. She does have a couple swap out portraits, but I like this face the best. There's a smirking one too, but I think this one just looks a little bit cuter and softer. She's got her ruby here. Nice detail in the outfit, good curves. I like her pose. It looks sexy, but it also looks like she knows how to take care of business. She's got her whip here. She can. There's a swap out where she can actually have like a whip that's moldable that hangs down. But I like her holding the jewel. Base is nice, and I have Poison Ivy's EX piece. This little cat with the ivy. Now usually there's a suitcase hanging here, but it's really just big and brown, and it kind of pulls your eye away from the more important stuff, which is the statues here. So I do have it. I think it's just sitting down here, kind of out of the way. It's from the Hush storyline, if you're wondering. And as you can see, I've got some posters in the background. Harley, I've got the Superman, the Jim Lee Superman, Jim Lee Batman back there. And now I've got another beautiful female piece. Hush Poison Ivy. I've reviewed her as well. But let's just take a quick look at her in all her glory. She's got her awesome man-eating plants around her. Really huge base, but again, really frames her nicely. You know, it's kind of funny because a lot of these, up until recently, I had them displayed a little bit differently in here. I just sort of had two. Let me just step back for a second. I just basically had two tiers. I had a lower tier all the way along, and then then see this height? I had that height all the way along in the back, and there was two tiers of characters, and I just found it to be. I was almost thinking about selling this whole line because it was annoying me. I didn't like how they were lit. I didn't like how they looked. It was too much going on, and you couldn't really appreciate each character. So now that I've got them set up with some variants in terms of height and groups differently, I appreciate the collection all over again. So I'm glad that I did that. I literally just did that a couple nights ago. So here, of course, is Hush Superman. It's, in my opinion, still one of the best statues ever created. Wow, what a perfect representation of the might of Superman. He doesn't really have that sort of gentle, soft look that he often is associated with, and I do like that Superman as well. Of course, there's something about a character who has all the power in the world. Basically, he's a god, but he chooses to live like a humble, and caring person. But I do like this. He just looks like he means business here, and I love that because you don't always see Superman in that sort of, in that way. You do a little bit more now. I know, comic books and movies and everything are trying to show his tougher side now, but I still think this is a really unique and beautiful way to sort of represent Superman, the power of Superman. So now we move on to Huntress, another beautiful statue with a beautiful portrait. They really nailed the sort of comic book look, the Jim Lee comic book look of these in these Hush pieces. Huntress again has a number of different swap outs. She has her bow staff that she can have. She can have two pistols, I believe. So there's a smaller crossbow that she can have, but I kind of like this look. The crossbow is iconic for her. And she's got sort of like a gentle lean up against this wall. It's unique. You don't see a lot of statues that have this. I can't think of any other statues that have the person sort of leaning up against a wall. Her hair blowing in the wind is really nice. Prime 1 do skin so well. Cool base. Something I didn't notice until I watched another YouTuber, that this is actually has a bit of a purple tinge. Can't really see it here, but it matches her purple. I always opt for the sculpted cape when I can. You see, I got her in sculpted cape. I got Soups in sculpted cape. I'm not a big mixed media fan. I try and avoid it where I can. In some statues it does work, but in my opinion, not usually. Here's Red Hood from one of the Arkham games. I think this is a really cool looking statue and a real cool version of Red Hood. It has a couple swap outs when it comes to his actual mask, but I think this was the most interesting one, and it kind of pops because of the glossiness of it. I just really like this representation of Red Hood, and I like Red Hood as a character a lot, of course. It's got an interesting story. I hope the Christmas music in the background isn't too loud. It's kind of fun though, keeps things festive. This is actually my my avatar, my image for my PlayStation account is this Red Hood. Okay, so now we move up to the Batmans. This was actually almost a mistake. I didn't even know if I was going to keep Azrael in the back there, but it works well. So I just I stuck him back there, but it works well having the three Batmans all sort of up here together, and I don't think they compete. I think that they complement each other. So we of course have the black suit Hush Batman. The musculature in this statue is just so nice. And I know at the time people were mixed on his pose because it looks like he's kind of down low, but I mean, I really think you need to have him up high like this, and then the crouch is so appropriate for him, just kind of ready for action. This is very Batman to me. And then the giant cape, really dramatic and effective. Very Jim Lee portrait. Love it. And I do have the little piece that they released after the fact to keep the cape from falling, although I didn't have any problems with the cape even before. And then we have Batman Beyond, which is kind of fun. The young Batman beside, I mean, this isn't really an older version of Bruce Wayne, but it's kind of fun having them side by side with all the multiverse stuff going on. It makes sense. I don't think that it doesn't make sense to have them together. This is actually just a suit from one of the Arkham games, but it's like the Batman Beyond suit, of course, the EX with the red Batarang. But he is standing in as my Batman Beyond. And then we have from one of the Arkham games, Azrael. Now I know Azrael, when he was Batman, had obviously a different suit, and there is a Prime 1. There's a Prime 1, Batman version of Azrael with the yellow and the blue, and I think that's cool. But I really love how this Azrael looks. He has that that knight Templar Knight look that I think really kind of complements the collection. I think it's very cool. I think if I had the Nightfall Batman back there version of Azrael, it might pull your attention away from this Batman a little bit too much. So anyways, there you have it. That is the DC lineup that I have. I got rid of all my 1/4 scale DC, and I'm only going 1/3. I have the Wonder Woman coming from Prime One, the version that is the Art Germ style, because I just love Art Germ. He's actually one of my favorite artists. Actually, just while we're speaking about him, we've got some art prints framed, hard to see. We've got Huntress here. Sorry guys, the glare is making it difficult to see. But anyways, got a Huntress art print, Poison Ivy, and then we have, little sneak preview of another room there. And then we have Wonder Woman here. So let's quickly go and take a look at the Berserk area. So you see I have all of the books so far, at least the ones that have been released. Unfortunately, Kentaro Miura has passed away, but everyone's hoping that the line will be finished by his proteges. So we have, first of all, actually, let's go to the 1/3 scale Guts, because this is the man. 1/3 scale Black Swordsman. I might end up selling this. I did, from Todd at Spec Fiction, I picked up a 1/4 scale version of him with the kind of the more interesting base, because I just think it might fit with the collection more. But for now, I've got this, and I think it works as a centerpiece. I've done a review on him, so I won't go into him in too much detail, but he is pretty glorious. Again, mixed media capes, not a huge fan of, but this does work, and it's kind of fun to pose it in an interesting way. I think if you are a person who only needs one or only wants one Berserk piece, this is the one you have to pick up. It's very commanding and really impressive in person. But again, you know, the way I have it set up right now, it kind of works. He's the focal point and everything else is secondary. But I think as I start getting more, I have Casca coming, I have Slan coming, or Slan, however you say it. I have Skull Knight, I have Femto. So I think the more 1/4 scale ones I get, the more this will just kind of look a little bit odd. So I will probably end up selling them. If you're interested, let me know. And now we have another one of my favorite statues, Griffith, the EX version, the Prime One exclusive with the helmeted portrait. I don't know why, but in camera he always looks like he's a little bit bug-eyed, but he doesn't look like that in person. Something about the camera and the way it captures him. But beautiful portrait as Griffith should have. Literally, kind of looks a little bit feminine, but he's very graceful. And his birds around him, his hawks, as he's the leader of the band of the Hawk. I think there's the Band of the Hawk logo there, and then we have this little add-on piece, the Baelit. Just a really beautiful piece. I mean, Griffith is a beautiful character, he's a beautiful man. At least he's supposed to be in the comics, and I think that they really captured that here. Next, we have the Berserker armor version of Guts, and this is really cool too. This is the EX version that actually, the EX and the regular, really, the difference wasn't that big. I kind of hate it when studios do that and they don't really make much of a difference. Like, the only difference is that this portrait, it's a little bit more open and you can kind of see his face a little bit more, and that's really the only difference, which is kind of dumb. But anyways, it is the EX. It's got him, it's sort of a famous pose of him up on the cliff, holding the Dragon Slayer on his shoulder with his giant cape kind of blowing in the wind. Really, really cool. And then finally we have Human Form Zod, a really imposing piece. See, the problem, again, with having this 1/3 scale Guts is he's so big that Zod should really stand out. He should look like a giant, but he doesn't because he's next to a much bigger scaled Guts. Anyways, it's okay. All in time. Really gory base. He's sliced the head off a horse, and there's infantrymen or soldiers all crushed at his feet. Really cool. This little raven on the shield here. Mixed media in parts, but I think it works here. I don't think you'd be able to capture that sort of animal fur in any other format, so I don't mind the mixed media here. Giant axe, his blade looks like he's been cutting heads off. Really ornate detail, and then that savage face of his. Very cool. And then I have the Battle for Doldry poster in the back there that's kind of hard to see now. But I love the Golden Age arc. That is my favorite arc. So I had to get a poster that sort of represented that before, at least most of it is before everything goes to shit. Because I liked Griffith as a character. I liked his dynamic with Guts before everything all went haywire. I like the rest of the story, of course, but that was my favorite bit. So there we have it, guys. Let's pull back out, do one final look of the whole area, and then we'll move on to a different room. Again, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I was able to move this piece out in front and actually set up spotlights properly so it's all lit properly, and I love how it looks. All right, on to the next room, guys. All right, let's head into the man cave. And, man, it's hard to take a good look around here, but I'm just doing a quick overview, and I will get into everything. So right here, this is one of the reasons why I was planning on waiting for this video. I'm supposed to have a giant custom arcade cabinet coming in, 50-inch screen, hundreds of thousands of games, everything up to PlayStation 2, I believe it plays. It runs on a PC engine, and it's been custom made for me. It has all, like arcade quality 4 joysticks and the whole bit. But the guy is delayed, and it's unfortunate because I really wanted to get it into this video. I wanted to show it, and I also wanted to kind of help out his business. But hey, he didn't get it to me on time, so too bad. And this is my favorite area of the house. Over here is my sort of main office, but it's mostly, if I'm doing day-to-day work, I do it in the other room over there, just on my laptop. But if I'm doing anything with Photoshop, or if I'm doing digital art or anything, I do it here. Or if I need the 2 monitors, I'll do it here as well. But as you can see, this is sort of my gaming area as well. I've got the LG OLED here, which is the best TV, at least for now, that you can get for PS5 gaming. It has the highest refresh rate for 4K play, and that's why I got it in here. Play my Call of Duty here. I have my PS5 in here. Do I have anything else in here? I think just the PS5 is hooked up to this right now. So we'll start off by my amazing Castlevania art print that Sue bought me for my birthday last year. It's big and it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, I don't know if you can see the colors in it, but really stunning piece. Really impressive. So now we'll move to my gaming slash cartoons slash anime area, I guess I'll call it. I love really colorful statues, and I think that's probably why this area is my favorite. There's a whole lot of nostalgia here, but also it's just very colorful. And now let's start with the least colorful, but still two of my favorite statues. Storm Shadow. Man, that skin that Prime 1 does is awesome. And good old Snake Eyes with Timber. Both of these have some swap outs, but these are my favorite versions of them. SMG in the backhand, katana in the front. I guess I must like something about having a machine or a gun in the backhand and a katana in the front, because I have that for a Deathstroke as well. But there's a swap out for both of these guys, number swap outs for their portraits. I think I like both for Timber. The other one's a little bit more chill, but I got this one in for now. And then Storm Shadow, like I said, beautiful. He can also have two swords, which is kind of mimicking one of the comic covers, but I like how this looks. Now we'll move down to Destro, who's really big. I thought he was overscaled actually when I compared him to the ninjas and even to some of the other statues that I have in 1/4. But then I watched the cartoon again, and I looked in the comics, and he was always just a big beast of a character. He's still a little bit dusty. I did dust these guys recently, but sometimes it's hard to get the dust off. He's really nice. These are underappreciated statues in my opinion. The G.I. Joe line. I guess other than Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow are pretty popular statues, but man, Serpentor, like, this guy is just a beast. Oh, look at this portrait there. You really have to hand it to Prime 1. I like to shit on Prime 1 because they really piss me off. Their customer service is terrible. Their quality control is not always that great, but like, how audacious. I can't think of a better word to make a massive Serpentor statue on this giant glider. Like, only a select few people are gonna buy this. A, can fit it because it's giant, but B, are going to devote that amount of space to a character like Serpentor. Like, it's not even Cobra Commander, Serpentor, but I think it is awesome. I love it. So now, well, let's stay on the cartoon theme, and let's just go to He-Man and Battle Cat here. Unfortunately, they're kind of tucked away. I can't find a better spot for them yet. It would be nice if they're a little bit higher, but everything else higher, I want those statues up higher because I appreciate them a little bit more, but I'll eventually find maybe a better place for him. But I think that these are really good, nice representations of good old Prince Adam and Cringer. Again, there's a little bit of mixed media there. Doesn't bother me. Would I have preferred it to be sculpted? In this case, probably. But hey, not the end of the world. I actually like this portrait for He-Man. He doesn't look too... He's supposed to be young, right? So he looks still youthful, but he doesn't look too much like the cart. Like, he doesn't look cartoony. What am I trying to say? He's a healthy balance between something a little bit more realistic and cartoon, I think. Now, Battle Cat is very impressive. He's giant. I'm not sure if it's coming across on camera here, but he's just a really big statue. And unfortunately, again, it would be nice if he was up higher so you could see his face. The EX version of this, or the DX version, had a maskless portrait, and it's so impressive. I couldn't find that anywhere. Unfortunately, I was too late to this, but like, you can get a hint of what it must look like just by looking at the detail in his teeth. Oh, you can't even see it, but like, he has glossy tongue and glossy teeth. It's just very nice. And then obviously on the Castle Grayskull style base. Okay, so now let's move over to some video game characters, and three of my favorite well, two of my favorite video game women and one of my favorite video game dudes. So we have My Shiranui here by HMO. This portrait, it took a while for it to grow on me. I didn't really like it at first. To be honest, I got it for two reasons. I got this statue. One, because I have another Mai coming, and I have one already that I've had for a while. So I didn't need this, but I got it for two reasons. One, I think that HMO, their girls are always highly acclaimed and they tend to go up in value. So I'm like, maybe I should have both HMO girls. I do have Morgan, which we'll look at in a second. But second of all, Sue, my fiance, really loved it. She really, really liked her portrait. So I'm like, okay, well, listen, if she's going to take a liking to my statues, any of them, I'm all for it. And I'll try and support that if I can. So as it turns out, this statue has really started to grow on me. I think it is my favorite of the two Mai's that I have for now. And it might be, once the other one comes as well, the Tri-Eagles one. We'll see. This is obviously a classic, won a bunch of awards, deservedly so. One of my favorite statues, HMO Morrigan, or Morrigan, however you want to say it. Beautiful. This and Mai both have these sort of lifelike eyes. Not sure if you can really see it there, but very nice. Just the movement of this statue, the sense of movement captures Art Germ's original image perfectly. And it's kind of cool how this base, if you look from the side, it just looks like a chunk of rocks. But if you look from the front, it is a skull. That's really clever and creative. Very, very beautiful piece. When I look, I'm trying to struggle around my couch here, but I'll come this way. The thing that strikes me of this statue is it just oozes quality. I don't know how to describe it, but like the paint seems to just be on another level for this. There's so much depth to it. Look at the little speckles of different colors. And even in the wings, the details of the sort of bat-like wings. I really love this statue. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, and now we've got Pure Arts Jin, Devil Jin. One of my favorite characters, actually not the devil version, but just Jin himself, Jin Kazama. It's one of my favorite characters to play in the Tekken series. I used to be absolutely obsessed with Tekken 3 and Tekken Tag. I used to be really good at those games. And I always played Jin and Brian Fury in the tag game. And I do actually, Pure Arts just announced a Brian Fury statue, and they put it up for pre-order, and I have it pre-ordered. So this lights up, but I forgot how to do it, so be it. I'm not gonna get the light up here. Let me see if I can just get in on his portrait. Very, very nice statue. I love my giant wings in statues, and I think that goes really well. I think he pairs nicely with these two here. Now let's move on to some Street Fighter. My favorite fighting game, one of my favorite games of all time, Street Fighter 2. When I was, I don't know if I've told this in another video before, but when I was, younger playing Street Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo, I used to have dreams of that game almost nightly because I played it that much. I just was obsessed with it. When I was 15 years old, I went to Japan. I think I was 14 actually. I went to Tokyo and I was like playing Street Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo machines that they had out in an area of Japan, and other Japanese kids were playing it, and I was kicking their asses, and I was so proud. I was like, oh yeah, this game is from Japan, and I'm beating them at their own game. I was probably playing just like noobs, but at the time I was really proud of myself. So we've got my three favorite villains in the Street Fighter universe. Obviously, M. Bison. Now this statue, this PCS statue, it is such a great looking statue. It really sort of embodies M. Bison. But I had a leaning problem with this. I almost sold it because I was kind of changing my collection around. And then I noticed that he was leaning off to this side, and I just sent the pictures to the guy, and I'm like, listen, I got to be honest with you. As I put this back together to check it out before I sold it to you, he's leaning, and the guy decided ultimately not to get it. But so what I've done is I've stuck some pieces like this. These two pieces come apart, and the leaning seems to mostly be in there. So I've actually just jammed some little pieces of things in there to make him look straight. And now he looks okay. It's not ideal, but it's not bad. And as you can see, the base has a nice light up to it. Well, that's coming across really interesting on camera. It's a little bit more purple in person, but yeah. M. Bison, light up eyes. And now we move to Akuma. Akuma, Ryu used to be my main in Street Fighter until Akuma started, well, until I think it was Alpha 3 that I started using Akuma, and he could just pull off chains of combos, and he was so quick. He was a little bit weaker, but he was so quick. So I really got to take a liking for Akuma, and he is, at least in that game, he was definitely my favorite character. And this is, I believe, the portrait that is kind of like Alpha 3. Which is the portrait that I like. Obviously his eyes light up here. This Ultimate Edition came with, you could really, forgot to mention, this is annoying. See this crack in here? It's like, I guess his whole body lights up, but there's paint over top, so you can only see it in the parts that weren't painted as much. But somewhere along the line, the paint cracked a little bit, and you can kind of see light coming through. It's a bit annoying. I mean, you could say that it's his energy manifesting through his skin if you wanted, but we all know it's a crack. Other than that, though, really nice detail. The vascularity in his arms and the musculature is beautiful. I like these the rope hand wraps, and then the rope pants. Again, this is mixed media. I don't like it. I'm not going to keep mentioning it. It just is what it is. I would have rathered it sculpted, but it doesn't ruin the statue for me. And then the fire base looks pretty cool. It looks really impressive far away. When you get a little bit closer, it's okay. It's not bad. But the effect from just a couple feet away is really, really quite impressive. So that's Akuma. And then we move over to Vega. Vega used to kick my ass constantly when I played this game as a kid. I have destroyed many Super Nintendo controllers because of this asshole. I still have my old Super Nintendo controllers, and I chucked them against walls. I bit them. You can see bite marks on them where I was so furious. I was an angry kid, and this guy was the bane of my existence in those Street Fighter 2 days. But because of that, it's like that weird trauma thing where like people start to develop an emotional attachment to their captor. Because of that, he's always just been one of my favorite characters. I don't know if it's because he was so hard to beat, or just because I like I like the sort of like matador ninja persona that he has, or I just think it's cool how he thinks he's so beautiful that like his story basically is he thinks he is so beautiful. He's so vain. That's why he wears the mask. He doesn't want his face to get ruined. But he thinks that everybody else, unless they're beautiful enough, should be beaten. That's why he fights, something like that. And he has a real thing for Chun-Li because he thinks she's so beautiful, which is a good segue into this next section here. These, at least Ryu and Chun-Li, they might be my two favorite statues that I own. I know they're not the best statues that I own in terms of, I don't know, mass appeal or even quality, but I just love them so much. These are my childhood right here, but they're also updated versions. And I think that they just really capture at least the Street Fighter 4, was it Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5? I think Street Fighter 4 models that they were based on. And they're just awesome. When I look, like, I can't get enough of this, this section, this display section here. I think it's probably my favorite. So let's start with Cammy, because I do love this as well. Although Cammy was kind of a later favorite of mine, just because I think she's kind of sexy. I never really used her when I played. I would have preferred, I said I was going to stop saying it, but I'm not going to. I would have preferred a sculpted outfit. There, I said it, whatever. Really cute portrait, really captures Cammy. Nice detail. I love what PCS did with these. Nice butt, as she has to have. Cammy is the butt girl. I think PCS really captured the spirit and the look of these Street Fighter characters. I love them. I really, really love them. I have the Street Fighter swimsuit special collection, which is kind of cool. Has a bunch of interesting art from different artists in here. I'm glad I was able to pick this up while I could. Oh, Elena. I love Elena. I really hope they eventually make a quarter scale or third scale statue for her. I'll pick that up in a heartbeat. I won't go into this too much, but it's a fun book. I used to love the... that's a great Chun-Li. Karen, or Kirin, however you say her name in Japanese. Karin? Anyways. Yeah, no, not Kirin, that's the beer. What was I going to say? On the swimsuit edition, I used to love the comic books where they had the swimsuit edition versions of like the Marvel characters. I had a poster with the X-Men all in swimsuit edition, chilling at the pool, and I love that. This book kind of brings that back. Anyways, on to Ryu. Again, veins are awesome. The scarring, the skin, musculature. Panzer, mixed media. You know what I feel about that. But otherwise, I love this. The bearded Ryu look. I think that's my favorite look for Ryu. They call it sexy Ryu, but it's just, I love it. I mean, the guy's out training in the mountains. He would get a bit of a beard, and it's just a really good look for him. Now, again, I still think this is my favorite statue, and it hasn't changed. I've got a lot of fantastic statues in, but there's something about this Chun-Li in her battle dress. I think her portrait is freaking awesome. She looks like a little bit unimpressed, but hot as hell, and also kind of ready to fight. Like, she kind of is a little bit pissed off, like she wants to fight you right now, but she still looks super, super sexy. And then her battle dress is all obviously super sexy. Her massive thighs. I love it. I love this statue so much. It is my favorite. Of all the statues I have, of all the more expensive statues and more impressive in terms of build and what have you, this is still my favorite statue. I can't get enough of it. Okay, now let's move over to my other Mai piece. Usually I don't have two versions of characters up, but Mai and Chun-Li I always make an exception for. So this is the Connecticut's Mai. Can't really, the lighting is not good here, but her eyes are actually similar to HMO in terms of that they have that sort of glass eye look. Yeah, the camera doesn't capture it well. She's actually a nice statue. She was repainted by the Connecticut's team because it didn't look, to me, the paint didn't look like the prototype. And these guys actually let me ship it to them and painted it for free. So I'll always be grateful of that. And I do like this version of Mai. It's like the Art Germ art. I don't like these flames. These sort of, it doesn't look like flame. Flames are hard to do. I get it, but this really doesn't look like flames at all to me. So I don't like that, but I do like her. And so I'll probably keep her, at least for, I'll probably end up keeping her indefinitely. Again, I don't like having multiple versions of characters, but for Mai and Chun-Li, I'll always make an exception. So now we've got PCS Poison. Don't like the mixed media top, but otherwise awesome. I love these Street Fighter girls with their massive thighs and skinny little waists. I don't know. I just think it's awesome. I really like the art design of Street Fighter 4, I believe most of this is based off of. And to keep going with the Street Fighter theme, got Juri, or Yuri, I don't know how to pronounce her name, I think it's Juri, the Korean Street Fighter character. She's cool. She's not one of my favorite statues, but I like the dynamic pose There's a lot of movement going on here, which is really cool. I don't have much of a tie to this character, but she was on sale at Sideshow at one point for pretty cheap, so I just picked her up to add to the collection. If I ever run out of space, this will be one of the first to go, but I do think she's pretty cool looking. And then we've got Sakura having a moment of stupidity. Well, my life is a moment of stupidity, but I'm having a brain fart here. Yeah, I think her name's Sakura. In her gym outfit. Nice little statue. Not my favorite. More dust, man. I literally just dusted, but yeah. But not bad. She's so small, doesn't take up a lot of real estate. I probably will never get rid of her. But not the most impressive statue. Fun to have her in the collection though. And now let's move up to my Cyberpunk girl display. Let's open this up. So first, Queen Studios TGIF1 collaboration with Evan Lee based on his artwork. And I am all in for all these things. I love them. This is my style. Really kind of like almost grotesque cyberpunk. It's like sexual and grotesque and like mecha. And I'm all about it. I love it. I like how it has these sort of stickers all over her. There were more, and I think they probably just ran into copyright issues. So they pulled some of them off of her, which is too bad, but it is what it is. She's just a cool looking statue. I have others coming. This was Queen Studio. There is another one in the line by, I think it's Ein Studio, which is called Cybergirl Ginny, where her like stomach is kind of opening up and it looks like she was pregnant and her stomach is all opening up in a mechanical form, which is on the way as well. And then there should be one more in the line coming too. And now we've got the Gantz girls, Anzu and Reika. I've already reviewed these two. Obviously super sexy. Not much more to say about them. If you haven't watched the CGI anime on Netflix, go watch it. It's really impressive. Even if you're not a big anime fan, just like, it's very nicely animated. The story is sparse, especially compared to the original anime or manga it's based on. But it's just a cool, slick show. You're not going to get these two as scantily clad as this. That this is kind of more based on a different line, but you do have them both in the show. You'll get to know who the characters are, and you'll get some cool action scenes. Okay, so now let's move up to my Cowboy Bebop guys. I love this. My favorite by far is Faye, and I've mentioned this in other reviews, but I think that they progressively got better. So we got Jet Black here. Who's good? He's not bad. Then we've got Spike Spiegel, who is better. I think he's just a more well-made statue. Great likeness to the character, but then Faye, they really stepped it up. Her portrait is awesome. Nice variation in tones in her clothing and paint styles. And even the base is better. Touches on her story, really nice. Now we've got Conquer, one of my favorite Nintendo 64 era games. Was really sort of like irreverent and how would I describe it? Poked fun at movies, but paid homage to them as well, which hadn't really been done that much in those days. I don't know how it holds up now. I haven't played it in a long time, but I really loved this game. Here he is in his Clockwork Orange look, holding the glass of milk. And then we have, this is by First Four Figures, by the way. This is actually, interesting. These are all by First Four Figures. I didn't do this intentionally. But First Four, and then we've got First Four Solid Snake. I like this statue. It's good. It's a nice representation of Solid Snake. There is a version where down here there's a mechanized spinning ammo box, which is takes you back to the games. And I thought that that's the one I was buying. I was really disappointed when it showed up and it wasn't there. And because of that, you just get a whole big open area here. That's why I have him kind of tucked away in a corner, because I think this is the best look with the majority of his base being covered. Because without that ammo box, it's just kind of an empty base. But he is nice though. Definitely looks like Snake from the original Metal Gear game. And I think that's it for this section. Okay guys, this tour is taking way longer than I expected, so I'm going to split it up into 2 parts. That was part 1, and part 2 will be coming soon. So stay tuned, like and subscribe to the channel so that you can get updated when part 2 comes. And until next time, later.